This is Dr. Ritu Singh from Basic Science Department, and today's topic of discussion is rotational spectra. It is the third topic of spectroscopy or Unit 2. In the first topic or first lecture of Unit 2, we discussed Introduction to Spectroscopy. In the second lecture, we discussed about UV visible spectra. So this is the third lecture of the same unit, spectroscopy, which is rotational spectra. Under rotational spectra, we are going to discuss about what are the conditions for a molecule to give rotational spectra. Then there is a short derivation about how the diatomic molecule is going to behave, and by that derivation we are going to calculate many terms which will be used for calculating bond length, then dipole moment, moment of inertia, all these terms. And then we have got the mechanism, how the rotational spectra or how rotational energy levels or how rotational changes they take place in the molecule. So what are the conditions, and then we have got limitations and applications. Besides this, we are going to discuss two numericals. One is on rotational spectra, and the second numerical which we are going to discuss is on Beer's law, which I have already dealt in Introduction to Spectroscopy, which was the first lecture of this unit. Now, rotational spectra. So as the word rotational, we are going to talk about rotational energy. So when there is rotational energy, by rotational energy means the molecule is spinning on its axis. So that gives rise to rotational energy, and rotational energy gives rise to rotational energy levels. Now, it is also known as microwave spectrum because the range is 100 to 100 centimeter inverse. So this is the range of rotational spectra. The radiation which we use, they fall in microwave range. So it is also known as microwave spectra. The range of the spectra is 1 to 100 centimeter inverse. Now, the molecules which are going to give rotational spectra are the molecules which have got permanent dipole moment. So this is the condition for a molecule to give rotational spectra. So it should have permanent dipole moment. This would be permanent. So all the molecules which have got a permanent dipole moment, they are going to give rotational spectra. And if the molecule is not having a dipole moment, that particular molecule will not give rotational spectra. So it is rotational inactive. So we can talk in terms of active molecule and inactive molecules. So active molecule, according to rotational spectra, are the molecules which have got permanent dipole moment, and inactive molecules which are not having dipole moment. For example, if we have HCl, hydrogen, H2O, then CH4, carbon dioxide, Cl2. For example, we are having these molecules. Now, in these molecules, CH2, CH4 and Cl, they are not having a dipole moment. So these three molecules, they are not going to give rotational spectra. So rotational spectra is given by HCl, water and carbon dioxide. So this is the condition for a molecule to give rotational spectra, and the condition is the molecule should have a permanent dipole moment. So this is a general introduction about the rotational spectra. So rotational spectra is also known as microwave spectra. Why? Because the radiation which we use, they lie in microwave range. The range of rotational spectra is 1 to 100 centimeter inverse, and rotational spectra is given by molecules which have got permanent dipole moment. Now, we are going to discuss rotational spectra in a diatomic molecule. So rotational spectra in diatomic molecule. Normally, when we are going to study rotational spectra, we are going to strict our discussion to diatomic molecules. Reason I'm going to tell you later on. So suppose if these are the two molecules, this is one molecule and this is the another molecule, this is mass m1, this is having mass m2, this is Cg, and Cg here is center of gravity. Then the distance from one molecule to another molecule, it is, suppose it is r. Then the center of gravity and the distance from one molecule to center of gravity, this is r1 and this is taken as r2. So this is some points which are taken. So we have got a diatomic molecule, m1 having mass m1, the other one having mass m2. Then Cg is the center of gravity, r is the bond length, we can say, or internuclear distance between the two atoms. Then r1 and r2 are distance of two atoms from center of gravity. Now if we start the derivation, then the moment of two atoms from Cg, which is center of gravity, is equal. That is m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2, which is the first equation. Now we can take up r1 plus r2 is equal to r. So we can write this equation in terms of r1 as well as r2. So r1 is r minus r2, or it should be and r2 will be r minus r1. Now if I put up the values of r1 and r2 one by one, in this first equation I will get the value of r1 and I'll get the value of r2. So if I put up the equation of r1, this value of r1 in the first equation, and I get m1 r minus r2 is equal to m2 r2. So when I solve it, m1 r minus m1 r2 is equal to m2 r2. So m1 r1 is equal to m1 r2 plus m2 r2. So here r2 can be written as m1 r over m1 plus m2. So this is the equation which is obtained when we are putting up the value of this value in first equation. Similarly, we can get the value of r1, which is m2 r over m1 plus m2. So this is how we have calculated the value of r2 and r1. Next, the moment of inertia. The moment of inertia, which is denoted by I, is given by m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. So this is the second equation. So I put up the values of r2 and r1 in equation 2. So putting the value of r1 and r2 in equation 2, I am going to get I is equal to m1, then r1 value is this one, this is m2 r over m1 plus m2 plus m2 r m2 m1 r over m1 plus m2. Then I solve it out. When I solve it, I get m1 m2 square r2 over m1 plus m2 square plus m2 m1 square r square over m1 plus m2 it out, I get I is equal to m1 m2 over m1 plus m2 r square. This m1 m2 plus divided by m1 plus m2 is reduced mass, which is taken by mu. So mu is equal to m1 m2 over m1 plus m2. So I is equal to mu r square. So this is the equation which is going to give moment of inertia. I is moment of inertia, mu is reduced mass, and r is bond length or internuclear distance. Now if I further solve it for notation which will be used in the rotational spectra in diatomic molecule. So now I start with I is equal to mu r square. So I is equal to mu r square, which is going to give the moment of inertia, and which is equal to mu is reduced mass, and r is bond length between the two atoms which we have taken. Now here L is an angular momentum. So L is an angular momentum. This angular momentum is given by I omega, where I is moment of inertia and omega is angular velocity. Now L can be also be written as J plus 1 h over 2 pi. Now this J is rotational energy levels, that is a constant. So J represents rotational energy levels. So let me write it here. L can also be written in terms of rotational constant, rotational energy levels, h over 2 pi. So when it is written in terms of rotational energy levels, then J is there. So J represents rotational energy levels. So these are the two equations by which we can represent angular momentum. Then energy of the rotating molecule is given by 1 over 2I omega square. So by this term we denote the energy of the rotating molecules. Now if we divide this equation, divide and multiply this equation by I, then I get 1 over 2 I square omega square over I. This equation can also be written as 1 over 2IL square. Now in this equation of energy, I put up the value of L in terms of J. J is rotational energy, representing rotational energy levels. So if I put up the value of L here, then energy is given by J h square over 8 pi square I J plus 1. So this is the equation of rotational energy. Now if I have to convert this energy into centimeter inverse, then I divide this equation by Hc. So when I divide this equation by Hc to get this energy into centimeter inverse, then I get H over 8 pi square Ic J plus 1. So this is the equation. Now all these terms are constant. H is Planck's constant, I moment of inertia, and C is velocity of light. The velocity of light is 3 into 10 to the power 10 centimeter per second, or 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters. Then the value of Planck's constant is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34. So, and we know the value of pi, which is 3.14. Now this constant value is taken as B. and B here is rotational constant. So if I write this equation, then energy is H over 8 pi square IC J plus 1, where this is all a constant value, which is B, and this B is known as rotational constant. So this equation can be written as J plus 1. So this is the value of, this is the final equation. So we have taken we have taken one molecule where the two atoms are M1 and M2. The distance between the two atoms, or internuclear distance or bond length, was taken as R. Then we had a center of gravity, which is Cg, and the distance of the two atoms from the center of gravity was R1 and R2. Then the moments of the two atoms were equal around the center of gravity. So we took the equation M1 R1 is equal to M2 R2. Then R1 plus R2 was equal to R. Then we calculated the value of R1 and the value of R2. Then the moment of inertia is given by M1 R1 square plus M2 R2 square. Then we substituted the values of R1 and R2 in the equation of moment of inertia, and we derived another term, which is moment of inertia is equal to M1 R1 divided by M1 plus R1 into R square. R is the bond length. Then we took angular momentum as I omega, angular momentum in terms of J, which is representation of rotational energy levels, that was given by under root J plus 1 H over 2 pi. Then the energy of the rotating molecule was given in terms of 1 over half, or 1 by 2 I omega square. We multiplied and divided this equation by I. Then the equation of energy became L square over 2I. Then when we put the value of L in terms of J into this equation, and then we arrived to this equation. And here this equation is written in terms of centimeter inverse. To convert it into centimeters inverse, we divided it by HC. So, and then finally we arrived to this equation. Now, in introduction to spectroscopy, I discussed a term which is known as selection rule. So I write this equation here, which is J plus 1. So there was a term which I explained, that is selection rule. So selection rule, I explain it again. It is a constraint which is applied to the transition of electrons from one energy level to another energy level. So all electron cannot move to any excited state in a particular spectra. There is a constraint that it is going to move from here to here. Some of the transitions are allowed, the other transitions are forbidden. So basically selection rule is a constraint which is applied to the movement of electron in a given spectra, and for different spectra we are going to have different selection rules. Now in case of rotational spectra, because we are talking in terms of rotational energy levels, and as I already said that the rotational energy level is given by J. So the selection rule here is delta J is equal to plus minus 1. That means the transition can take place from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, and so on. These are absorption spectra. And if we talk in terms of emission spectra, when the electron is coming down, then the transition can be 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 0. The transition like 0 to 2, 1 to 3, 2 to 4, and vice versa. Vice versa means emission and absorption. That is not possible. That is forbidden. Why? Because the selection rule is delta J plus minus 1. Now, so I put up the value of J as plus minus 1, then the transition is from J to J plus 1. So when I write the equation, I am going to write the higher energy level, which is J plus 1 before, minus the lower energy levels. So the energy can be given by B J plus 1 J plus 2 minus B J plus 1. So this is the same equation where I have put up in place of J, I am writing J plus 1, and this here I am writing J because the transition is taking place from J to J plus 1. So if I solve it, J square plus 3J plus 2 minus J square minus J. So it is equal to B, J get cancels, 2B, 2J plus 2. So this can be written as 2B J plus 1. So this is the final equation, 2B J plus 1. This equation we are going to use time and again whenever we are going to consider rotational energy levels. So this equation, in whatever spectra we are going to use, it is going to remain same. So for rotational changes or for rotational energy levels or rotational spectra, where in whatever spectra we are going to consider, this is the equation is going to remain same, which is 2B J plus 1. So now with this equation, which is 2B J plus 1, if I draw the energy levels, then this is first energy level, which is represented by 0, this is 1, this is 2, then this is 3, and then I have the fourth one. So these are the rotational energy levels. Now according to the selection rule, the transition which is going to take place is on the basis of selection rule delta J is equal to plus minus 1. So plus minus 1 means the transition which is possible is from 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, and then we have 2 to 3, and the last is 2 to 4. These are absorption transitions. If we talk in terms of emission transmissions, then the arrow will be on the downward direction. Now according to this equation, the difference between the two transitions, this is going to remain constant, and that is 2B. So this we have inferred from this equation that the distance between the two transition is going to remain same. Now as we this transition was from J to J plus 1. Now if the transition is from J plus 1 to J plus 2, then this 2B will become 4B, and then when we move to higher transitions, 2B will become 4B, then 4B is 6, 6, and so on. So this is the difference which is going to come. So this is a rotational spectra of a molecule, and this is absorption spectra because we are showing transitions in the upward manner. We can also draw emission spectra in the similar manner. So then we can discuss our numerical on this rotational spectra. Suppose we are having a rotating molecule which is CN. So CN molecule, we are having a CN molecule which is a rotating molecule in gaseous state. So because it is a rotating molecule in gaseous state, so it equally spaced lines are formed where the interspacing is 3.8 centimeter inverse. By interspacing, that means we are calculating the value of 2B. So 2B is 3.8 centimeter inverse. Now we have to calculate the internuclear distance. So I repeat again the numerical. We are having a molecule. The molecule is CN molecule, and it is rotating in a gaseous state. When it is rotating in the gaseous state, equally spaced lines, it gives a series of equally spaced lines where the interspacing between the lines is equal to 3.8. Interspacing means we are talking about 2b. We have to calculate the internuclear distance. Now, we have already dealt with the derivation. So, 2b is equal to 3.8 centimeter inverse is already given to us. Now, I is equal to mu r square. So, mu is reduced mass and r is the bond length. I is moment of inertia. So what we have to calculate, we have to calculate this value of r, which is internuclear distance. So to calculate internuclear distance, I have to calculate u and I have to calculate I. Now because the molecule is CN, here the mass of carbon and nitrogen is also given. So carbon is 12 AMU and nitrogen is 14 AMU. So these are the things which are already given. So from this, first I am going to calculate mu and then I am going to calculate moment of inertia, or I can calculate otherwise also. So to move in this numerical, I know B is equal to H over 8 pi square IC. So if I have to calculate the value of I, then I is equal to H over 8 pi square BC. The value of B will become, B is equal to 3.8 divided by 2, which will be 1.9. So here I am going to put up the value of B as 1.9. This is a constant. Then C is the velocity of light. If I put up all the values, I get it as 1.46 into 10 to the power minus 46. Then I calculate the value of mu. Mu is m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2. So m1 is carbon, which is 12, m2 is nitrogen, which is 14. So if I put up the values, I get 12 into 14 divided by 12 plus 14. Now one thing to remember in these numericals are, when the mass is given in AMU, then in the denominator I have to multiply it by Avogadro's number. And if the mass is given in kgs, then directly I have to put up in kgs. I am not going to multiply here the denominator by Avogadro's number. So you have to remember this. If the mass is given in AMUs, then I have to multiply it by Avogadro's number. If the mass is given in kgs, it is not required. So if I calculate this value, it comes out to be 1.07 into 10 to the power minus 26. Now I put up the value of mu and value of I. This is the value of mu into this first equation, and when I put up this value, then I get so R is given by under root I over mu. So I was calculated as 1.46 into 10 to the power minus 46, and mu was 1.07 into 10 to the power minus 26. And so after this I can get the value of R. So this is how the numericals will be done on the basis of the derivation which we already did. So and the only thing which we have to remember here is when we are calculating mu, if it is given in AMU, then we have to divide the denominator by Avogadro's number, and if the value is given in kgs, then it is not required. Otherwise it is, the numerical is simple substitutions, because we know the formula of moment of inertia, so we can calculate it very easily. So we know the formula of moment of inertia, we can calculate the value of reduced mass, we can calculate R. So this is about the numerical which you get on rotational spectra. The next is the mechanism of as to how the rotational changes which take place in the molecule. Now we have considered a diatomic molecules. Why we are considering and we restrict our discussion to diatomic molecules? The reason is, if I am having suppose for diatomic molecules I have M1R1 is equal to M2R2. If I take a triatomic molecules, then I will have one more term which is R3. If I take tetraatomic molecules, I am going to add up equated to one more term. Similarly, the equation of moment of inertia will be m1r1 square plus m2r2 square. This is for diatomic molecule. But for triatomic molecule, it will be, I am going to have three terms. With these three terms, when I am going to calculate or move down in the derivation, the result will become very complicated, or I can say that it will be an irrelevant, or we cannot reach to some conclusion. It will become a very complicated equation. So just to avoid the complication, we are going to restrict our discussion to only diatomic molecules. So that is the reason only diatomic molecules are discussed in rotational spectra, because if we take triatomic molecules, if I take tetraatomic molecules, then the discussion becomes very tedious. Now regarding the mechanism, for example, if I have HCl molecule, again it is a diatomic molecule. Now if this is the molecule of HCl, because we are discussing rotational spectra, that means this molecule is spinning on its axis. While it is spinning on its axis, so it is going to produce a fluctuating electric field. So because of the rotational changes, it is going to produce a fluctuating electric field. Now a radiation which belongs to microwave region falls on this molecule. Now this radiation is also associated with an electric field. Now we are having two fields. One field is because of the radiation which is falling on this molecule. The other field is because of the rotation or spinning of this molecule on its axis. Now when this electric field and the fluctuating electric field, they come in resonance, then at that point the energy can be transferred from one point to another. That means the energy can be transferred from radiation to molecule, or it can also go from molecule to radiation, and then the changes are going to take place, and then the spectra is or rotational spectra is obtained. So that is the basic mechanism how the changes they take place. So I repeat about the mechanism. If I am having a diatomic molecule, it is spinning on its axis, and because it is spinning on its axis, so it is going to produce a fluctuating electric field. The radiation which is falling on that spinning molecule is also associated with an electric field. When the electric field of the radiation comes in resonance with the fluctuating electric field, the energy changes take place between radiation and molecule. So energy can be transferred from radiation to molecules or molecule to radiation. So absorption and emission can take place, and we get an absorption or absorption spectra in case of rotational spectra, or absorption rotational spectra is obtained. Now we have got certain limitations of this spectra. The first limitation is it is given by molecules with permanent dipole moment. So the molecules which are having permanent dipole moment, only those molecules are going to give this spectra, otherwise it is inactive. The molecule will be rotational spectra inactive. Secondly, it is given by gaseous molecules. Why it is given by gaseous molecules is only in gaseous state the rotational energy levels are quantized. So because of this, only gaseous molecules, they are going to give rotational spectra. And third thing, It is given only by diatomic molecules, or the rotational spectra. The study of rotational spectra is possible in case of diatomic molecule. I have already explained you why, because if I take triatomic or tetratomic molecules, then the discussion becomes tedious. The equation is very haphazard, we cannot study it properly. So these are the three limitations of rotational spectra. Then I have got applications of this spectra. If I talk about the applications, as we have derived some of the equations like I is equal to mu r square, then I know B is equal to h over 8 pi square IC, then mu is equal to m1 m2 is equal to m1 plus m2. So all these terms which are used in these equations, I can calculate them. So I can calculate bond length, I can calculate I, which is moment of inertia, I can calculate mu, which is reduced mass, I can calculate B, which is rotational constant. So these are the things which can be calculated. Secondly, I can determine, the next application is I can determine the symmetry of the molecule. Symmetry of molecule. So by this spectra, the symmetry of molecule can be determined, because we have done a derivation taking center of gravity and all that we have already discussed. So we can determine the symmetry of the molecule. The third application is, suppose these are rotational energy levels. When an external magnetic field, electric field, not magnetic. So these are some rotational energy levels 0, 1, 2, 3. When an external magnetic field falls on this, or we apply an external magnetic field on these rotational energy levels or on the diatomic molecules, then these energy levels, they split up. So that splitting is known as Stark effect. So the Stark effect is given by a rotating diatomic molecule in gaseous state. Why? Because when an external electric field is applied, the rotational energy levels, they undergo splitting. And this splitting is given by del mu. And the process is known as Stark effect. If the splitting takes place in the presence of magnetic field, that is known as Zeeman effect. You must have read it in 11th or 12th. So this is a Stark effect. This is splitting of energy levels, rotational energy levels, which is given by mu into E whole square. Mu is the reduced mass and E is the external magnetic field which is applied. So these are certain applications of rotational spectra. Next, I would like to discuss a numerical on Beer's law. So Beer's law is A is equal to epsilon CL. A here is absorbance, C is the concentration, L is path length, and epsilon is a molar extension coefficient. So this law I have already discussed in your first lecture of unit 2, that is introduction to spectroscopy. Now, if I take up a numerical, suppose I am having a solution of thickness, I should write it. A solution of thickness 3 centimeters, and when it falls, or a radiation when it falls, it shows 30% of drift transition. So 30% is C. What is the value of or what is the concentration? So we have to determine the concentration of the solution which we have taken. So I repeat that So we are having a solution whose thickness is 3 centimeters and it can transmit 30% of incident light. What we have to calculate is the concentration of this solution which is taken. So this is done by Beer's law. So A is equal to epsilon Cl. Now epsilon here is a constant which is given as 4000 decimeter cube per centimeter per moles. So if we put up the values, then I have I is equal to I naught is given as 0.3 because it is 30%. So log I naught over I is equal to 1.03 and this comes out to be 0.523. This value is actually A, which is absorbance. So A, which is absorbance, is equal to 0.523. If I put up the values, I have to calculate concentration. So A is equal to epsilon L. So I can put up the value 0.523. Epsilon is already given 4000 and length is 3 centimeters. So I will get the concentration in moles decimeter cube. So this is how I can get the concentration. These are very simple numerical on Beer's law. And these numericals, when they come in exam, they are of 2 marks only. So this is all in rotational spectra. So if I summarize the whole rotational spectra, rotational spectra is given by molecules which have got a permanent dipole moment, and the radiation which we use, it falls in microwave region. The range is 1 to 100 centimeter inwards. In this case, we restrict our discussion to diatomic molecules in gaseous state. Diatomic molecules, because otherwise if we take a bigger molecule, then the study becomes tedious or the result becomes very complicated, and we restrict our discussion to gaseous molecules. Why do we restrict our discussion to gaseous molecules? Because only in gaseous molecules the rotational energy levels are quantized. Then we have done a derivation where we have derived mu is I is equal to mu r square, then B is equal to H over 8 pi square I C, then mu is m1 m2 over m1 plus m2. Then the last equation which we came up was 2B J plus 1. This is a significant equation where 2B represents spacing between the two transitions. The selection rule which was taken was delta J plus minus 1. So the electrons can move one energy level up or one energy level down. If they are moving up, that is absorption spectra. If they are moving down, that is a rotational spectra. Then regarding the mechanism, as far as mechanism is concerned, when the fluctuating electric field of the rotating molecule comes in resonance with the external magnetic field, which is because of microwave radiation, then the transfer of energy takes place, and then the rotational spectra is carried out. This spectra has got some limitations, like it is given by molecules which have got permanent dipole moment. We study rotational spectra only for diatomic molecules or small molecules, and the third is we study rotational spectra only in gaseous state. Then it has got large number of applications, like it helps us to calculate bond length, moment of inertia, value of mu, value of r. Then we can determine the symmetry of the molecule, and at the last we can determine the Stark effect, which is the splitting of rotational energy levels in the presence of external electric field. So this is all in rotational spectra. Thank you.